Today, we will be speaking about data insights relating to Salesforce and Tableau. But without further ado, we'll do a little bit of introductions. Joe, do you want to go first?
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Josephine and I'm the data architecture manager here at Provisio. I've been with Provisio for about 3 years. I have a master's in data science, and here at Provisio, we really seek to bring nonprofit data to the forefront of data analytics to help your organization take additional strides from where you are today. And as you all know, today with me is my co host, Sydney.
Hello, all, and thanks for being with us today. My name is Sydney Morrissey, and I am a senior data analyst, and I've been with Provisio for a little over 2 years now. I have a degree in statistics from George Washington University. I've worked on a variety of projects surrounding data analytics, whether that be migrating data into a new Salesforce CRM from a variety of databases or implementing an analytical tool to visualize data. Data is always at the forefront of my mind, and I'm happy to be speaking with you all today about it and the power of visualizing the data we're collecting. Today, we will be discussing how to join some of those data sources that are living in a variety of locations. And once we join that data, we can then begin to see trends and visualize how our organization is making an impact. We will also be discussing how to interact with our data and ask our data questions. We will conclude this session with a Q&A as well.
So, our agenda today is really focused on talking about the importance and the value of being data aware. Being able to make data informed decisions means being able to see the impact of your organization to translate it into action.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Whether you have a robust reporting system or are tracking data on spreadsheets, we all face common challenges. While serving a wide variety of clients, we often hear the same challenges when explaining our problems. Some may be challenged due to their data being siloed or the fact that staff is spending so much time inputting data, but not seeing that output is difficult. Another challenge we are often faced with is that the data may be messy or inaccurate. Although we are all facing common challenges, there are solutions to our common issues that will be discussing today. So let's dive in. Our first speaking point revolves around where our data is living. When thinking about all of the siloed data that may be living in a single organization, the optimal solution would be to combine that data at the source itself. Well, we are aware that's not always possible, especially with an EHR, although integrations can help aid in that situation. Salesforce can be utilized as a single source of truth to report on all the data that is being collected within the CRM itself. Salesforce reporting is a great tool that has out-of-the-box functionality with the power of being able to quickly report on all of the data within a single application rather than needing to report out in a different system itself. Salesforce reporting has the ability to create charts to swiftly see how the data looks inside of your system as well. With the help of Salesforce or other CRMs that will bring your data together, Tableau is another great tool that allows you to also join a variety of data sources. With over 100 native connectors that come with the application, you can seamlessly integrate your data with this tool. Although it is great to be able to combine your data, we oftentimes find ourselves in a predicament when our data is not clean or values may not be matching between two siloed systems. Tableau has the ability to combine, reshape, and clean your data within the application. This becomes super powerful when needing to automate this process, as well as with the use of scheduled flows to ensure that data is always populating into your dashboard, cleaned and ready to be analyzed. We will now demonstrate how we can utilize Salesforce data along with an Excel spreadsheet within Tableau to create a single source of truth for our siloed data. As we learned during the case management tech trek, Salesforce is a great tool to help manage your organization's data. We're going to do a quick recap of how this looks at an individual level. We will then dive into how this relates to reporting and visualizing your data. Here is a person account record that will hold all the data relating to a constituent in your organization inside of Salesforce. This individual name is Jasmine Hughes. Within this record, one can see the basic demographic information for this individual, as well as how to contact them. If we scroll down, we can also see a mailing address as well. We can then see what programs this individual is currently enrolled in by selecting on the Program Enrollment Related tab. From here, we can see that Jasmine Hughes is currently enrolled in our Housing Assistance Program and started this enrollment on January 4th, 2024. When we select on this program enrollment, we can see additional details over here on the left-hand side, as well as related information and records regarding this program enrollment, so benefit assignments and any related benefit disbursements, etc. So this is a detailed view of what some records look like inside of Salesforce. Now we'd like to see that report that will aggregate the data living inside of these objects in order for us to report back to our funders or KPIs. I'll head over to the Reports tab here on the navigation bar and select Account States as the report. From this report, we can see that we're pulling in accounts as the report type here, and we have a total record count of 10,000 accounts coming into this report. We can see here a quick chart showing us a bar chart of all these states and how many accounts are located within each state or where the individuals are living within your organization. If we scroll further, we can see the detailed view, the detailed rows of this report. We are currently grouping this report on mailing state as well as mailing zip or postal code. The grouping allows us to group individuals into that select category to see how many records fall within a particular category. We can see the counts here located associated, as well as the account names and the account IDs provided. This allows just a glimpse into seeing how our data is currently being aggregated inside of Salesforce itself. Now that we've seen how it's being aggregated and collected inside of Salesforce, we can utilize Tableau to visualize data as well as combine a variety of data.
Moving over to Tableau, which is a Salesforce visualization product, we have the ability to create a direct server connection between our Salesforce org and Tableau. Besides Salesforce, there are over 100 native connector options which can be used for combining that siloed data. Today, we will be connecting Salesforce data with our external survey data. First, we will connect to Salesforce, which establishes a direct connection by our user login. As you can see, we now have the entirety of the Salesforce object makeup on the left-hand side in a table format. When connecting Salesforce to Tableau, it's important to recognize the relationships between each object, and this is what we'll use to create our data set. For the dashboards we will create today, we will connect account, program enrollment, benefit assignment, and benefit disbursements. With the Salesforce NPC data model in mind, these are the object of interest when we want to identify the geographical location for those enrolled and receiving services within our organization. With Tableau, you're able to connect relationships between objects to create data sets with only the data of interest of the use case. As we briefly mentioned, in order to create our data set, we must set the relationship between the objects that we're pulling in. We'll start with accounts, and then we'll bring in program enrollment. We will establish the relationship between the account ID and as you can see, Tableau has already identified that it is a one-to-many relationship, as in we have one account that can have multiple program enrollments. We will now add in the additional objects needed to create this data. Now that we have our Salesforce dataset built with our objects of interest, we'll go ahead and connect our survey data. Our survey data is in CSV format, so we will use the text file connection to bring in the additional data source so we can create our combined data set. We will now go ahead and select our export, and when we do so, you'll see it up on the left-hand side. We can then bring in our survey data, but we need to understand the relationship between our Salesforce dataset to our external source. The survey was sent out on the account level, so we want to make sure we're keeping that relationship when we're building the combined dataset. Therefore, I'll go ahead and connect account ID to the representing account ID in our export. Once we've added the relationship from account to the individual who have completed the survey, we now have our siloed data sources combined into one data set for further analysis.
So after that great demo of being able to see how we can connect all of our data utilizing Salesforce and Tableau itself, and now we also have all of our data in a singular location within Tableau, as shown in that demo, we can now start to visualize this data, which is where all the fun begins. From a quick glance on a visualization, one is usually able to glean an insight or two based on the standing display of a chart or dashboard. With the power of the drag and drop capabilities within Tableau, it makes it super easy to picture impact and potentially see further correlation when reviewing a variety of factors and how they relate to one another. Also, Tableau's geospatial mapping capabilities rapidly provide clarity into where the need may be and how far stretched the services you are providing to the community are. This, in turn, shows impact as well as can help guide improvements within your organization on where its expansion is essential based on the community's needs. Being able to visually see trends is another key component that Tableau easily allows their end users access to. An example of this may be an organization wanting to know what services are being utilized most and know that the statistics being shown are a precise representation based on all the data being collected inside of the system. With all of that said, we will now show you all how the visualizations are brought to light using Tableau as our analytical tool for this use case. Now that we have all of this data connected, we can now begin to visualize how it looks in Tableau. The Salesforce report we saw previously was showing us very granularly who falls into a specific category, or particularly the state in which individuals reside in. We can utilize Tableau to picture impact in a visually appealing way, like a heat map. We may want to visualize where individuals are living who are currently enrolled in a particular program. Let's build this out together. We're going to start by building out a map. We're going to find the mailing state field from the data pane on the left-hand side. We are going to add this over to detail. We can see now that each individual mark or dot is now representing a mailing state. But how does this relate to the individuals that are residing within each state? What we can do is change this visual to a map mark so we can see the outline of the states here, representing a closer look to a heat map itself. Next, we will add over the distinct count of accounts that is coming over from Salesforce to the color mark. We can now see visually the total number of accounts within each state. If we hover, we can also see the total number associated as well within each state. Now, if we want to make this a little bit more granular, we can take this to the zip code level. So we're going to duplicate the state map here and rename this to zip code map. From here, the only difference that we need to make is the level of detail. Instead of pointing it to mailing state, we'll point it to the mailing zip code. We now have a map that's looking at the actual zip codes. We can see each mark is now representing a zip code, as well as the area is outlined for us. The color is also denoting how many accounts are within each location. We now want to combine both of these maps into a single view. We can do this by loading it onto a dashboard. We're going to select a new dashboard here and drag over the state map as well as the zip code map. We can see here a better look of both maps in one view. Taking this a step further, we can utilize the Use As Filter function in Tableau that allows us to filter and drill down when selecting on a key indicator or a mark. When we select on Texas, we can see that the mark on the zip codes will drill down and show us the state of Texas and all of the zip codes associated of those constituents who are living within Texas in a particular zip code. Now, thinking about how this dashboard may relate to the report that we were showing inside of Salesforce, we want to make sure that this data is matching. So we can see here that Texas is showing a total of 642 accounts associated. If we move over to the account states report that we were looking at previously, we can scroll down and see that in the state of Texas, there's a total of 642 accounts that are associated. We can now agree that this data is directly connected and is matching to what our Salesforce report is telling us. Now let's take this example another step further, and let's see the distribution of services that were provided via the benefit disbursement object inside of the NPC Salesforce data model. We'll go to a blank sheet here and search for the actual completion date when the benefit was provided. We'll add this to columns. We will also duplicate this field and add it over to color. We can now see here that each year is now being represented as a color as well as a column. We can then add over the count distinct of benefit disbursement to rows to see a linear chart of the total number of benefits being provided by year. We can also then change this level of detail to show by month each service that is being provided. Each line in the color is represented by a year itself. We can also make this continuous to show those lines continuing throughout our graph. Now, we can see here that October of 2023, there's a big gap between the services that were provided in 2022 versus 2023, which is quite interesting, just by creating this simple chart here. Now, let's duplicate this and add another granular step of showing this chart by benefit. We're going to change our title here of benefit disbursements by benefit. And instead of showing this by column of being the actual completion date, we're going to show it by the benefit name. We will flip this chart, which is a standard bar chart, which is going to show us the color coordinated to the benefit name, as well as the total count of services or benefit disbursements that were provided within this particular benefit. Now that we have 4 different sheets or charts built out, we can add all to a single dashboard itself. We will add over the benefit disbursements by month and year, as well as the benefit disbursements by benefit. We will select off of Texas. We now have a blank slate. What we're going to do here is we'll zoom in on the map, and I now want to select Texas to see what happens with the constituents living inside of Texas and the disbursements that were provided. We can then see here that actually, instead of October being that high peak when the benefits were provided, August ends up being the highest number of benefits being provided within that total year timeframe of 2023. This allows us to better see trends as well as analyze our data within Tableau. The use of drag and drop capabilities makes it super user-friendly, as well as a powerful tool to visualize your impact on the community by being able to filter down into your data views.
Wonderful. Now I'll pass the baton over to Joe to discuss how we can interact with data and explore questions we all have in regards to the data being tracked.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Sydney. So as we're following along our journey here, we now see the power that we have in our hands from completing our combined data set and starting our visualizations. Tableau was really built to provide individuals the ability to become data intelligent by not just making inferences, but having defined sense of truth in your data to be able to make those actions that you need to. The dashboards allow us to quickly get answers to our questions we may already have been talking about, or we let our dashboards bring us to a new question. We can do so by utilizing the filters, the actions, and by exploring the ins and outs of our data. We can ask the questions such as, how can we expand? How can we be better prepared? We can drill into metrics by correlating their effects. In turn, you're creating a lineage between different data points that you are tracking, allowing us to increase our reporting efforts from 2D to 3D. But how do we connect the answers we got from our burning questions? Tableau enables us to dive further into your exploration by linking records straight back into Salesforce, embedding dashboards into your portal, into your website, or also directly in Salesforce. Tableau is within your organization because they have different license structure that's set up to be geared specifically towards case managers, board members, and stakeholders. So now let's see this in real time when we explore our Salesforce and survey data to dig a little deeper and get some insights and interact. Now that we've seen just how easy it is to build a dashboard, let's take it a step further. Let's understand how our combined siloed data source can be analyzed, with the thought in mind on how we can reach more individuals within our services and expand. Our external survey was sent out to specifically target our food access program. We've already created a dashboard that shows the geographical distribution of our client base with the aggregation of their program enrollments. Next to it, you'll see a breakdown of the survey results. Let's look at the individuals who have answered often true to the question, within the past 12 months, did you worry that your food would run out before you got money to buy more? When we drill into this answer, you can see that there appears to be 77 individuals who are not enrolled within our food access program. We now know that 77 individuals can be reached out to discuss the services that we offer. Within the visualization, we can also see the distribution geographically. As we can see, a majority of individuals fall within Texas. When we take a closer look at Texas, we can see that it's very combined within one zip code area. But how do we know who these individuals are? Using the drill down action filter, we can navigate to a detailed sheet that shows the full survey responses, where we can then connect the Salesforce record by a simple click, which opens up their Salesforce record where we can call or send an email offering assistance with our current services near them. This is just one of many examples of how you can utilize ad hoc exploration to further understand the data you have and how you can expand your impact in your organization utilizing a variety of data sources. So in conclusion of our journey that we've been through today, we now see how Tableau and Salesforce can work together to combine siloed data, visualize, and interact with the data at multiple levels. We now see there's a solution to the challenges we presented at the beginning of this journey. Not only do we have the ability to identify the issues we had at hand at the start, but we can go further and beyond from our original mission that we may have had from the beginning and turn it into actions. We can take our findings from our survey data and not only take internal action, but also present it to our stakeholders. That is, we're in need in a particular area for our services to expand in those areas. I hope you all are able to relate to these common challenges and see the solutions come to life utilizing Salesforce and Tableau.
Fantastic. Thanks, Joe. We will now kick off the Q&A portion of this trek. We are here to answer any and all of your questions. Please feel free to put those questions in the chat, and we would be happy to answer them as they come in. Awesome. I see the first question coming in from Laura Miller. Her question is, how easy is Tableau to use for beginners? This is a great question and something I truly love touching on. The fact that Tableau has this drag and drop capability makes it super user-friendly. There's no code needed in order to create any of the visualizations we showed you all today, as well as many others. So in that case, I do believe it is super easy to use, user-friendly, and really truly allows you to access your data in a way that's unlike many other solutions and applications themselves. I hope that answers your question, Laura.
I can take the next one here where we have, when should organizations invest in Tableau? So as we've seen, Tableau is a visualization tool. Therefore, we got to know where the data is coming from, right? So once we have our data sources identified, if that's 1, 5, or 10, we can start to use Tableau to bring everything in together and also start the visualization of one part of the data or all of it together. Because Tableau doesn't require any coding and also having that over 100 native data source connections, it is a really good tool that's set up for you to have success from the beginning and also follow your organization as you're growing. What you know now that you need may not be what you need in 5 years. So Tableau is there to support you on any step of your journey within your organization.